Hi, this Miss Melinda. Welcome to Miss Melinda's Spontaneous Smart Diva Show. How is all my fans and subscribers doing tonight? This is Saturday night. Yeah. So a lot of people might be out and about. Maybe you're watching me somewhere. Wherever you're at. Some people are probably watching me on the road because y'all like cell phones. Yeah, I'd like you to be watching me on a laptop. I look a lot nicer on my laptop than I do the tablet or your cell phone. When they're small, it's just not as, you just don't get as an attractive, uh, you know, video of me on a cell phone. You know, the laptop's the best. Tablet's okay. But whatever you got to use, you got to use. Okay, so we are studying biology. Okay, let's get started, shall we? I think a lot of my fans wanted me just to get a little more straight into the class and get the class taught, But I will always spontaneous talk, because that's Melinda. And that's why it's named, okay, you have to go, you can't stand back here. That's why it's named Miss Melinda Spontaneous Smart Diva Show, because I talk spontaneously all the time. Okay, so this is called vaccine safety. Okay, so those of you who are always worried about vaccine, which I'm not, it's clearly in my biology class. I just taught you a couple of nights ago. It's better to take the vaccine than take the disease with no vaccine. The disease will beat you worse than the vaccine. Yes, it is much better. In all this biology classes I've been teaching, it keeps telling you, take the vaccines. I've taken every booster shot they've offered where I live here, and you don't get sick at all. Well, I don't get sick at all anymore anyway. Yeah, I'm real healthy. Okay, let's get started, guys, because I know that's what you guys want. If you're coming from last class, you want to just get down to business and continue what I just taught you last class. Okay, so we're going to start classes quicker in case you're jumping from the one, but you got to go backwards, remember? Because I'm uploading them backwards, but just go by the numbers, the numerical order. Okay, guys? Okay, so you ready? Let's go. Okay, vaccine safety. One issue that challenges the success of vaccines today is people's fears about vaccine safety. Because of these fears or mistrust of vaccines, some people are choosing not to vaccinate their children, a decision that ultimately puts the children at greater risk for infectious disease. See? When you don't vaccinate your children and yourself, you are putting your children and yourself at a greater risk for the infectious disease. That is what you should be more afraid of than the vaccines, okay? Now, following are a few points to consider, okay? Maybe I need to turn a little bit, like that. Because I'm leaning this way. I feel like I gotta make myself even. Like this is the best. Okay, okay, we look okay like this. Okay. So, following are a few points to consider about the safety of vaccination, The risks from a vaccine are less than the risks from the disease, period. All vaccines have risks and can cause side effects, period. However, in order for a vaccine to be licensed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the side effects must be far less severe than the effects of the disease, and the risk of having side effects must be much lower than the risk of getting the disease. So they're really pushing that into our heads, okay? Okay. So, this is a new title. Many diseases that are perceived as mere nuisances can actually have extremely serious complications, okay? Okay. Measles, for example, which some people think of as a relatively harmless childhood disease, which for our family it was, is the sixth most common killer of children worldwide. Well, not in our town, there was nobody that lived in our town in the 60s and 70s that a child died from the measles. And we never heard it on TV, on the news, or anything. And they're saying it's harmless childhood. It is the sixth most common killer of children worldwide. Well, not from anybody we've ever heard on the news or, anywhere. I've never heard that before. Measles, I've never heard that anybody died from the measles. Okay, well, I know back in time when they didn't have vaccines. Okay, move on. Measles infection can result in complications such as encephalitis, swelling of the brain, oh boy, and pneumonia. According to the WHO, measles killed 114,900 people during 2014 alone. Wow. Most of them children, period. This statistic is especially tragic when you consider that measles is a vaccine-preventable disease. So vaccinate your kids, okay, and yourself. As many, you got to keep up. See, I live in a rehab center, so they automatically come to us. But you have to keep on your toes and keep asking your pharmacy, when's there another booster for the flu, the COVID, the pneumonia? Ask your pharmacy, when's the next everything, okay? Many people in rich nations have no first-hand knowledge of the full impacts of infectious disease, okay? Most younger people who live in rich nations, such as the United States or countries in Europe, have grown up in a time when vaccinations were easily available. Few people who had polio still alive in these countries, and hardly anyone remembers the days when people ended up in iron lungs, because polio had paralyzed the muscles they needed to breathe because of a lack of knowledge. Okay? You guys with me? This is very serious. You with me? Okay? Okay, let's go on. Concentrate. Not many more pages. Okay, so the fear of infectious diseases has declined in these countries, leading people to question the need for vaccinations, period. Okay, next one is the internet spreads rumors like wildfire, The internet brings a worldly information right into your home, period. The problem with that info, however, is that it all hasn't been checked for its accuracy. So you can't depend on the internet with this vaccine and all this information I'm telling you here. You better listen to the biological doctors from this book. The internet, you can look up a doctor, but you don't know, there's all kinds of doctors that aren't properly educated. Books are checked. Editors and scientific and medical articles are carefully reviewed by groups of scientists and doctors. before they're published. All you need to put info on the internet, however, is the cache for domain name and hot name. Here, I use magic markers. Hold on. However, is the cache for dash domain name. That server, an official dash looking website can fool people about the reliability of its info. So always check the source of your info. Amen? Amen. Here's a tip. 2 organizations that have excellent info on vaccine safety are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And a website is that they show you is www. Everything's lowercase, cdc.gov. www.cdc.gov, and it's all lowercase. Gov is G-O-V. Okay, and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. This is another website they're giving you. www.chop.edu for education /centers hyphen wait a minute. Progress. I can't read it. Oh, it's programs. Like the name runs, I think. This magic marker is blurry here. Centers dash programs. Well, it doesn't matter if you have that site or not. Just try to find it, whatever. And vaccine dash education dash center. All lowercase. Okay. Vaccines are mainly used for preventing infections, okay, by bacteria and viruses, but scientists are trying to develop them for some diseases, such as malaria, which are caused by EUKAR. So UKAR, like a car, but with a K, and then YOTS. YOTES. So, to develop them for some diseases such as malaria, which are caused by eukaryotes. EUKARYOTES. Get a pen and paper and write it down. Malaria, which are caused by eukaryotes. Write down the spelling. I just spelled it 2 or 3 times. Okay, and that's what's causes malaria. Viruses are so hard to target with drug therapy that sometimes vaccines are the only tool people have to control the spread of some viral diseases. Following are the different types of vaccines. Okay, Here's the following types of vaccines you can get. Okay. Okay, this one is called inactivated vaccines. Contain killed pathogens. The parts of the pathogen are include, but the pathogen can't reproduce. The next one is attenuated live vaccines. It says attenuated parentheses live vaccines. I don't know what means live. It's in parentheses. Attenuated. It's ATTENUATED, like Ted. Get a pen and paper and write these down, and you could Google it for, if you don't catch the definition here, but you should keep watching me over and over to also get my definitions. But it's attenuated live vaccines. Contain weakened pathogens, period. The pathogens have been altered in the lab, so they have most of their original form, except for the parts that let them make you sick. And the next one's called subunit vaccines. Well, at least we got an easy rhetoric. Subunit vaccines contain just bits of the pathogen, such as the antigens most recognized by the body. Okay? We've only got a couple pages here. You guys staying with me? Yeah, we've only got 2 more pages, okay? Have you been able to follow me, or am I talking too fast? Maybe I better slow down a little bit? Okay, we'll slow down a little bit. So smallpox has been eliminated from the human population by vaccination, period. That's good, isn't it? Yeah. The World Health Organization, that's what WHO stands for, WHO, not the band WHO. WHO stands for, in biology, WHO, uppercase, stands for World Health Organization, which works to control the spread of infectious disease around the world, is now working to wipe out polio through vaccination, and also plans to target measles, period. Eradication, E-R-A-D, like add, eradication of smallpox, polio, and measles is possible because humans are the only host species for these viruses. Okay, did you know that? Did you hear me? Which means the viruses can't multiply and mutate in animal hosts, period. Basically, these viruses have nowhere to hide in nature, so if we can stop all human infection, even for just a short time, they'll be gone. They'll be gone. Last page. You listening? Okay. Some viruses, such as HIV and influenza, are harder to get rid of. These viruses change so rapidly that it's hard to come up with a vaccine that can teach your immune system everything it needs to know to keep you safe, period. That's why you need a new flu vaccine every year, and why we don't yet have an effective vaccine for HIV. Yeah, but people don't get it like they used to. Okay. And they're not sick. The ones that have it, they even are having sex now. Yeah, safely. Well, you can look that up on your own. Okay, so scientists are currently working on a new version of the flu vaccine that will contain a protein that doesn't seem to change very often. If this works, flu shots of the future may give protection for longer than 1 year. That's the end of the class. So did you understand that class and learn a lot? Yeah, I learned a lot that I didn't know, didn't you? But then we forget some of what I just said. So watch this like 5 times when I first upload it. And that's what I try to do, And we're all busy, just when you can, delve into all my different classes. And remember, the biology, I'm actually uploading backwards. Follow the numbers, and that's the order you read my biology classes, or you're not going to get any of it backwards, okay? And try to spend 10 or 15 minutes in each of my videos here and there when you get a chance, just for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour. I think I just taught this class in like 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to let you go, and we'll have a class where I'll talk more after class. But I think some of my students are into the learning, and they don't want all the chit-chat so much. They're waiting for the next upload so they can continue. Some of my fans, I think, have gone to 20, biology class 20, biology class 21, 22 through 30. Maybe they just did a little here and a little there, but they're doing it in numerical order, okay? All right, so I will see you next class, and have a nice weekend, okay? I love all my fans. Okay, good night.